So the Rebbe continues in the Maimer v'yesh lahoisif that the Rebbe wants to add over here an explanation in what it says in the Tanya, based upon what the Rebbe has just explained, that the example of Mayim is precise because, and it adds to the idea of the Torah descending from the high place to the low place, that the Torah actually belongs in the low place. The place of Torah, just like water inherently wants to go down because the place of the water is down, is lamato. The same thing is Torah is lamato. And the Rebbe therefore will explain the language used in the Alter Rebbe in Tanya. The Alter Rebbe says, "Zeu ma she'omer b'Tanya shom b'soif ha'perik." This what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya in the end of the Perik. The Masha Kosu v'Yeminei tebechavkeni. Now, when the pasuk says the right hand of Hashem hugs me, what is it referring to? The right hand, which is it referring to that hugs me? That this is koyi al hatoiro shehu bechinas chesed u'mayim. This refers to Torah, that when a yid learns Torah, the Torah, which is the level of chesed and mayim, hugs a yid, and that's yiminoi, right hand chapkein. The right hand is chesed. Why does the Alter Rebbe write she bechinas chesed u'mayim? What's the point in bringing that mayim? It should have said, just l'chayra said, that it goes under Torah, which is chesed, without saying mayim. Shemedayik chesed u'mayim, he specifically says chesed and mayim, av shebichdei levayir hatam. Al zeshat Torah nikras yiminoi, even though that in order to explain the reason why Torah is called yiminoi, it would have been sufficient for the Alter Rebbe to say that it's chesed. Not why does he add the word umayim that it's also water? The yiminei techabkeni is Torah because Torah is chesed. Why mayim? So explaining it, who ki hamshocha milmaylo lemato shebechesed. If it's not a hashpo of chesed umayim, if it's just chesed alone, chesed, you sense the advantage of the mashpia who is giving it to the makabel. But when it's a chesed of mayim, you sense that the intent is lamata, is the recipient, is the olam is below. When there is the hamshocha from above to below, which in chesed, he be'oifen shehamaylo toifes smoking. That's in a way that the one that's up takes up space, meaning it's important, the person or the chesed that comes from above. Say, for example, ha'hashpo shel isha chesed, when the flow that comes from a person who is kind, the isha chesed, the bazeh shehu mashpia lizulosei, the fact that he gives to someone else, which is hamshocha lemato, extends below. Nirgash chesed the hamashpia, over there you sense the kindness of the mashpia, the one, the milo, the isha chesed. You sense his kindness over there. What is sensed is the mashpia, is the milo. As opposed to the hamshocha mil milo lemato, which is in water, will be open That's in a way that they actually leave their high place and they go dafke to the small lower place. That is leaving the place, not sensing the upper level, but they want to be down because you sense that they leave their high place and they dafke want to go to Mokum Nokum. This is what the Alter Rebbe adds, that the Torah is Chesed Umayim. This that the Torah descended from above to below. This is similar to the descent of water. They let go of this high place. Not that you feel the high place, but you let go. The main Torah is below. That's why it's a hashpa of my. As explained elsewhere, the fact that we say that the Torah is everywhere, which is lemaila ulamata, above and below, that's Torah in as it is in the level of revelation. So the Torah is above and below. But here we're talking about that Torah but Torah as it is rooted in Atzmus, nitno lemata dafke, that has been given like the mayim. They leave their upper place, they come down dafke lemata. These two ideas that we're saying, that on one hand, in the deepest ingiluyim, my lamata are equal, but in atzmus, the mata is the main. These two ideas is also represented in the level of Odom, and that's why we call Zois HaTorah Odom. Odom, first Adam Elyon, that's the higher level, and then there's the Odom that he comes from the Adomo, Tafke, and the way the human being was created, Min HaAdomo, not as put together with the neshama, but dafke with the coming from the material from the guf was created on its own, and the level and the maila of the odom is dafke here lemato. That is as same as the level of Torah and the way it's mushrish in atzvus, and that's why the Torah is compared to odom. This is what we say, that this Torah is like an Odom. The Torah has been compared, example, to a person. Because by an Odom we have two aspects. The fact that we call a person Odom, because he is compared to the supreme, to the one above, which is a tremendous level and meaning in the word Odom. And also we say, Odom b'zeh nikra Odom. We also call him Odom al shem shenoitzar min ha'adomo, because he was formed from the ground. The Eibishter formed the person from the ground. So that's Odom Adomo. Odom Adam Elyon and Odom Adom. As we find in the Medrash, Omar Odom Harishon. Odom Harishon said, Ani no'eli korei Odom. For me, it's beautiful to be called Odom. Shenivreisim min ha'adomo, because I was created from the ground. So it's explained in Chassidus. This is Shakora Odom Harishon Shmoi. Al Shem HaChomer Guf V'loi Al Shem HaTzura Nefesh. Why did Odom Harishon call his name Odom based on his material in the body? Noitzar Min HaAdomo, that is the physical, that's the body, the Guf. Why didn't he name Al Shem HaTzura Nefesh? Why didn't he name Adam because of the soul. Why did he name it on the body? So explains in Chassidus, he realized, he appreciated the advantage of the body over the neshama. Adam Harishon b'chokmasoi, for Adam Harishon, with his wisdom, he grasped the fact that his body has been formed from the ground, which is doimim. Unlike all other creations whose body was tzemeach, as the Alter Rebbe speaks in Torah Oir, Lahavin, how come Yitziras Adam is different? All creations, all other living things were created, the neshama with their guf, their soul with their body, their life force. They were created as it is, but by the person who was created, Afor min ha'adama, that was the body, and then the Eibishter vayipach ba'apav ruach nishmas chaim, he gave him the neshama. Why is it different? So the fact that there is an advantage to the body, and that's why he called it by the name of Min Hadama, because there is an advantage in the guf, even compared relative to the advantage of the neshama. Because every item which is higher and higher more falls lower. So the fact that the guf fell down so low, that is an indication that it's actually higher, that it's even higher than the neshama, because it fell lower than the neshama. And this is the comparison to Torah is like an Adam. For Torah also has similar to these two matters of Adam Adam Elyon and Adam Min Ha'adama. The fact that Torah is higher than world, to the extent that all the worlds have no comparison to it. And we said before that David was Nenash, for example, the Tanya, because Torah really is higher than world, and the world is not considered Hu al derech, but that is that aspect of Torah, the greatness of Torah, that is al derech shem Odom al shem Adam al Elyon. That is similar when we call the name Odom, because of compared to above, that's the Shem Hamayla that shows the greatness, the highest of levels. But and on the other hand, the Torah specifically descended below comes because Torah is rooted in Atzmos, and that is who al derech shem Odom al shem shenoitza min Adama. That is similar to the name Odom because he comes from the Adama. Mitzad zeh, because of this, sheshorshu b'gavoya gavoya yosa, because the persons, the body, the guf, the chaymer, the Odom is neitza min ha'adama, comes from the highest of levels, comes from the level of Atzmos. The Rebbe is going to continue that this is specifically the idea in Torah itself, in halachas of Torah. The advantage of Torah, that it's Adam Elyon, that it's higher than the world, and that it's mushrish in Atzmos, comes through specifically in the level of halachas of within Torah. These two aspects in the level of water of Torah, that we said that what is Torah Yeredas Lamata first, that the Torah comes down below, and also B'Shal Yidei HaYerida Lamata Dafke Mizgala Shedish HaTorah, and it's Dafke through this descent below. So the two aspects are not like I said, not the two aspects of in Adam, but the two aspects in Mayim, that on one hand it comes down below, but you actually get the level of rooted in Atzmos. and you get the Torah root is revealed as Torah is rooted in Asmus. The Torah, it's mainly in the halachas of Torah. As he's going to explain, halachas, the Torah is connected to the Shem Havaya, which is higher than Elu ve'elu, Divrei Elikim, which is connected to the name of Elikim, which is just a discussion in Torah, but halacha is Havaya. The Inyan halacha is upsak din benegeya lemaisa, because what is a halacha? That is a ruling of the law as it pertains action. That is the lowest to bring it down practically in maisa. That is a very low descent, and then the root of the halachas is higher than the root of the other parts of Torah. So on one hand, like Mayim, it really goes down. It goes to the lowest. It goes down all the ways to halacha, all the ways to the psak din. But it's rooted, comes down. The root of it is in the level of atzmus, which is higher than the other parts of the Torah. As explained in the Hamshach of the Tov Shamavov, when we say these and these, all opinions are divrei elikim chaim, the words of elikim chaim, b'chinas elikim dafke. That is specifically in the level of the shem elikim. But v'halaches heim shem havaya. But when we talk about the halacha, the ruling, that comes from shem havaya, higher than elikim. Kimayim Razal, as our sages of blessed memory say on the pasuk v'havaya imay. Hashem is with him. What does it mean that Hashem is with him? The law is like him. So we say the name Havaya Imay. B'Shem Havaya Kan. What is the intent when we say Havaya with the name Havaya? Is Ad Lebechinas Shmoi Hakolul Be'atzmus, till the level of Shmoi as it's included in Atzmus. It's also Yichaylis or Atzmus, the potential, the ability of the atzmus, which is the havaya, that's the shame. They have atzmus, you have the shame of atzmus, shame akol of atzmus, yichaylos atzmus. So, the Rebbe adds, there's another part that the Gemara uses, the moshul of the mayim, that it's yoted mokum gavoya, mokum namuch. The Gemara brings it in for the idea of that to get the real ruling, you need the sense of humility. And the halacha is like Beis Hillel because of their humility. So that is also specifically in halacha, that level of mayim, of humility. Within Torah, it's specifically with regards to halacha. That's why it's in halacha we reflect this idea of mayim. Yesh lahoisiv. We can add the shebechinas mayim the Torah hu beikir belichos haTorah, that we say the level of mayim is mainly in the halachas haTorah, as we just explained, that it comes down all the ways lamato, and from the Shoresh, from the highest level. But who gam benegel as Esham Razava, this could also apply to another aspect about the mayim, shedivrei Torah nimshul mayim, that the words of Torah compared to water. So what does the Gemara say about the comparison to mayim? Just as water leave the highest place and they go to a low place, Likewise, the words of Torah are not sustained. Only one whose mind is humble is low. That's the comparison to Mayim. Which part of Torah we're talking? It talks about generally. The the Rebbe, this has a specific connection to halacha. As explained in the Hemshel Tavrish Samachos, in order to accurately, truthfully direct the halacha, who alidei habitl v'hashiflus, is through humility and low, considering yourself low, live shiflus. The zehu shenikva or halacha kibeis hillel. That's the reason why the halacha has been established like Beis Hillel, because they were easygoing, they were haluvim, they accepted, they allowed for them to be ashamed. Because it is dafke through their self-negation, through their humility, that they reach to the highest level, helam ha'atzmi. So this is another idea in Mayim, which is the idea of shiflus that is specifically associated with halachas. So yes, possession is ill. So we can add more explanation. But the Rebbe explained earlier in Sif Dalet, why is Bayoim Hasheni, we said on the second day, why did they get so early? How come they got the second to bring the karbonis of the Nisim? So we explained, why did Bnei Yisrochar, why did they get to do the second day? The Bnei Yisrochar nosnu eitzel lis not the bekarbonis. Why did they take give? And it's because they advised it. Why take did Yisrochar, the ones who advised to give the gifts of the karbonis? Is lefisha hoyu yoidim batoira. It says Bnei Yisrochar yoidim bina leitim, that the people of Yisrochar were knowledgeable in Torah. And we said before, Vagilu de Torah hu be'inyan hakarbonis. The relation of Torah is in the aspect of karbonis, Odam kiyakriv, in the inner karbonis. So the Rebbe says now, it also expressed itself. Why did the Bnei Yisrochar also express themselves that they were sheni and they weren't Tirisha, and they allowed Yehuda to go before them? The fact that the Shevet Yisrochar offered on the second day, and he proceeded to have ahead of him the tribe of Yehuda, that was because of the bittul of Yisrochar. This is similar to the idea that Beis Hillel would quote the words of Beis Shammai, their opponents in who would disagree with them, before they would put their own words. So that's why they merited to have the halacha truthfully Beis Hillel, and the halacha is like Beis Hillel. As explained in the Maimorim of the Rebbe Marash. So based on this, we can say the fact that the knowledge that the Bnei Yisrochar brought them to the karbonis, which is birur v'kiyum ha'olam, which is sorting out and sustaining the world, because their occupation in Torah was in a way of bittul, which expressed himself by being the second and allowing Yehuda to go before them, even though they are the one that devised the whole plan of the karbonis. They reached the level of the essence of Torah. Torah is rooted in the Asmus. And that's why by Yisrochar it was felt shatachlis the ideas HaTorah, that the goal of knowing Torah is to fulfill the intent of Atzmus, to make a dwelling place for Hashem Tachtonim. That was the purpose, and that was Nizgala in the Torah, in the Karbonis, and that is all because of the level of Bittul, because the level of Bittul reaches into the Helam Atzmi, into the Atzmas, that the whole purpose of everything is so the Eibishter's intent of Dira B'Tachtonim should be fulfilled through Torah, the Avedis HaKarbonis. Bezehu Vayikra Moshe Vaydaber Abaye Goymer Odom Ki Yaakov. Now going back, explains the pasuk. Hashem calls to Moshe, and Odafke over here by the Karbonis, Hashem calls to Moshe, and then Havaye speaks to Moshe, and then it comes down to Odom Ki Yaakov. So he says the Zeh. So first of all, we have this Vayikra, the Zeh Shalachol Dibros L'Chulu. The fact that before there is a dibur, there was always a kriya vayikra, which expresses the language of chiba, of love and dearness of Hashem, who gam kedima b'mayla. But this is also not just expression of love, but it's also a higher level. It's earlier mayla. Shahakriya hi l'mayla mahadibur. Kriya is higher than Dibur. By Dibur, it says Vidaber Havaya, it's Havaya. Here it's just Vayikra Stam. Vayikra Stam, to the extent it doesn't even say Vayikra Havaya, it just says Vayikra. It doesn't say who called, so it's higher than Havaya. Because Kriya comes from the essence of the Insof, which is higher than Havaya. Elosh Afal became. But yet, still, even those from a higher place. The fact that when does the Kriya come? Before the Eibishter wants to speak, before Vaydaber Abaye comes the Kriya. Although the calling, which is a language of expresses Hashem's love, Hashem's dearness, it's not just a preparation for the dibur, but yet it comes as a before the dibur. It's move on. It's understood shakriya sheyeches gam la dibur. So it means that this kriya is also connected to dibur, even though it's a much higher place. But because before dibur is kriya, means it has a connection. So b'yesh loymar. So we can say shadibres v'ha'amiris v'hatzivuyim de Torah. All the dibur, vaydaber, vayomer, tzav, tzivuy of Torah, they come from Havaya. The Torah, as all sayings, always says vaydaber Hashem el Moshe. But gamba dibur shebeposik zeh, it also says vaydaber Havaya. It says Hashem. V'hakriya he ma'atzmus kinal, and kriya comes from atzmus because there's no Havaya, there's no nimmer. Vayikra stam comes from atzmus. So what is v'inyan vayikra v'hayidaber? So what is the idea of vayikra v'hayidaber? Hu hamshochas v'gilu ha'atzmus shalamaylo me'ha-Torah b'dibur de Torah. That is to extend and reveal the atzmus, which is higher than Torah, into the speech of Torah. Ubechlolus. And generally, is the bringing down Torah as it's rooted in the essence from Vayikra to Vaydaber, and then it comes into the Karbonis. Yesh l'kasher zeh mashekosuv Vayikra ba'alev zeiru. You can also tie this with the fact that in the pasuk Vayikra has a small aleph. Ketoiras Admur Azokin, as the teaching of the Alter Rebbe. She'omar lahat samach tzedek bihi yoisoi ben gimel shonim. Alter Rebbe said to the Tzemach Tzedek when he was all of 3 years old, Sheha Aleph Zeira de Vayikra, that the small Aleph that's in the word Vayikra, Moire, that points Allah ha'anove v'habitl de Moshe, on the humility and the self-effacement of Moshe. Although he knew his greatness, his advantages. Moshe knew it. And yet he did not hold himself, didn't consider himself important. Not only did he not consider himself important, that knowledge brought him to be even more humble in his eyes. Baruch has explained it at length. So the Rebbe wants to tie this via Shloimar. You can say, why is it hinted? Why is the small aleph, which hints to the self-effacement, the negation of self of the bittul of Moshe, is the Tevis in the word Vayikra? And the reason for that is because it is through his bittul, self-negation, that made him a vessel to the revelation of Vayikra. To bring and reveal the Torah as it's hinted in the Atzmos, as it's rooted in the Atzmos. That is the Vayikra. Vayikra, we're saying, is the Hamshacha from Atzmos. Just like we explained before by Yisachar, that what made Yisachar, the level of bittul, gave him that higher level of bringing down the Torah as Mushareshes Ba'atzma. Now we understand, according to this, why is Vayikra Davke brought down in the portion of the Korbanos? Although for every time when there is a dibur, there was a kriya as well. So why is it specifically recorded in the Torah by Korbanos? Ki inyan zeh the Torah shi mushareshes ba'atzmos. Because this idea that the Torah has its root in Atzm is Gala Be'ikr, that is mainly revealed, Bezesh Torah Isekes B'dina Karbonis, the fact that Torah deals with Karbonis, Levareres Ha'olam, to sort out the world, to make for Dirloi, in the fact that the Torah deals with Karbonis, deals with Birur Ha'olam, that is reveals to us that it's Mushareshes and the Atzmos. That's why Vayikra is there. Hine Yadua, it's known to be Kol Echad Bechad MiYisrael Yesh B'chinas Moshe. We know that every Yid has the level of Moshe. As the Gemara says, Legabe Moshe Milsa Zutra, so we all have a little bit of Moshe, even though we have a smaller Moshe. Koilel Habitl the Moshe, so we also have the subjugation, the bittul Moshe. Move on. So from this is understood Sheba Inyan Vayikra El Moshe. Also, this idea of Vayikra El Moshe, the bittul Moshe Ba'atzmus Agam, the Kol Echad Echad MiYisrael. This is also to every Yid. Eibishter calls every Yid Vayikra. Ubefrat Kshulemet Pasuk, especially when you learn this Pasuk. Vayidei Zeh Gam, and through this also Nimsheches Le'nisinas Koyach. He extends to him the power alavodus hakorbanos beruchnius, and the service of the korbanos spiritually gives the yid the koyach when he learns korbanos to do the korbanos spiritually. To the literal service of korbanos, the Beis Hamikdash. Over there will do before you the korbanos as you wished in the commandments. The Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, the third Beis Hamikdash that will be built soon in our days, and very soon.